But I'm ready now.
Okay. I wish this shit would. Oh gosh, Aaron. Oh no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my word. Oh god. Oh no. Oh no. You fucked it
He's a
up.
ghost. He's a
Oh my
ghost.
gosh, it's ruined forever.
This is how. Oh my god. This is. It's
You
like a
might.
doc. It's like one of those documentaries of interviewing like somebody that used to be in the cartel.
Yeah,
Just your
yeah.
face is blurred out, and you just see
Yeah.
your body.
Yeah, dude, your camera's so. I don't want to start until that camera fixes itself.
It looks fine to me.
Oh, it looks horrible.
It looks really bad. Oh, there we go.
Oh.
Okay, we're good now. We're good now. Welcome back to the most unprofessional sports podcast in the world. Welcome back to Swivel Chair Sports. I've been your host, Zach Circle Burkle. Here with our co-host today, Aaron and Siege. Go ahead and say hi, guys.
What's up?
Hi guys.
On target. Well, not on target, but good speed. Good speed. Talking college football this episode. Take a look back at the Week 10 results. Some teams in the middle of the pack getting upset, while a couple of ranked team matchups went. Some went the ways you would expect. Some went the ways you wouldn't expect. Mizzou went the way you would expect, unfortunately, but we'll get into that. Right. Starting off with the University of Southern California losing to the University of Washington. That marks their third loss this season now for the Trojans.
Yeah, like 3 out of the last 4 or something like that.
Yeah, so it's not looked good for them in the last month or so. Losing to Notre Dame, and then who did they lose to last week? Utah, or 2 weeks ago, Utah, and now losing to Washington. Granted, Washington's a really good squad up there. Best team in the Pac-12 according to the CFP rankings, but essentially it's probably been dead for a while now. But USC's season is officially over for the most part. They're going to be struggling to make even a bowl game at this point. And Caleb Williams' Heisman bid is completely dead in the water as of now. But I guess I'll start with you, Siege. What are your thoughts? Welcome back after your week off last week. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
But yeah, what are your thoughts on USC's demise that we've watched over the last month or so?
Well, I mean, really, all it comes down to is defense. They can't stop anybody to save their life, and you kind of saw that happen, and Jeff Lebby got fired, and so finally, Lincoln Riley's taking action to having the last 4 or 5 years with Lebby and never having a good defense. I don't know why it took him this long to realize that. But whenever you give up 28 points in one quarter, you're not going to win too many ball games that way. And then it doesn't help that your offense goes out in the fourth quarter and can't score anything. So, they lost by 10. It was a good game. For the most part, it was a good game. But then that fourth quarter was the deciding factor. It was all tied up going into the fourth. USC couldn't put up any points, and Washington took control of that game. And so, did you guys see the picture of Caleb Williams with his mom, or the video after the game?
Yeah.
Hugging his mom in the stands.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sucks for him just because I think he is a really good quarterback. Obviously he is. He won the Heisman last year.
Right.
It sucks for him that he hasn't been able to have a defense to make sure he wins those games against good teams, against good offenses. It sucks for him. Yeah, their season's over. They're 7-3. They're not going to make the Pac-12 championship game.
No.
And so I don't know. It's just they got to figure out how to get a defense out there at USC.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Caleb Williams, the no defense that he's had over the last 2 years there at USC. That kind of leads me to my next question for you, Aaron. Do you feel like USC wasted those 2 years of Caleb Williams? Because I mean, all signs are pointing to him obviously going into the NFL draft. He could stay one more year if he really wanted to, depending on what team has that number one pick. But all signs point to him leaving, and it feels like USC really wasted the potential they had with him under center.
I don't know if you can necessarily say wasted in college like you can in the NFL. You can obviously sign free agents and bring people in the NFL, but with college, you recruit them the best you can. Either they decide to come or they don't. So I don't know necessarily about wasting it, but I think it would be considered disappointment. Um, yeah, kind of like Siege said, their defense couldn't stop a piece of paper blowing around in a light breeze. It's just terrible.
They can't stop the
I
run
think,
or the pass. That's like
yeah,
they just can't stop anything.
that game was exactly what everybody expected it to be: high scoring, uh, exciting on the offensive end, and really nothing to show for it on the defensive end. So
Yeah. I mean, USC is going to USC. They're gonna choke when the cards are on the table, or the chips are in the whatever the heck the saying is. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while since we've seen USC make any noise as far as national championship talks are concerned. They've been hyped up for a couple years now. They've been hyped up in the past, but I don't think they've even made it to the game since like the mid 2000s. So it'll be interesting to see what Lincoln Riley can do with that program going forward if he sticks around, assuming he sticks around and doesn't jump ship like he did with OU. But yeah, I guess that we'll go into the next game where Alabama seemingly has control of their own destiny after beating a solid LSU team. They're still the eighth-ranked team according to the college football playoffs rankings. But assuming they make it to the SEC championship game, maybe they somehow knock off Georgia. You'd have to assume they got a good shot at making the CFP when it's all said and done, wouldn't you, Aaron?
yeah, if they knock off Georgia, definitely, I think that puts them in the CFP. That could actually be a really good game now that I think about it. I think Jalen Milroe has grown a lot since the beginning of the season. He did have, he's got to work on his accuracy. There was one play against LSU where he just missed a wide open guy for a touchdown, and it would have been like a walk-in. So he's definitely still got some growing to do, but that defense that they have is really good.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Siege? Do you think Bama's kind of controlling their own destiny going forward? I mean, even if go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good.
No, finish your question.
I was just gonna say that. I mean, really, I was just gonna keep talking around myself, but yeah. I mean, Bama's even if they don't beat Georgia, do you think they've got a decent shot at making the CFP, or do you think that's basically what they have to do in order to make it?
It depends on Florida State and Texas, to me. So if they beat Georgia, I think that they get in. If Florida State and Texas both win out, though, they take that number 3 and number 4 spot,
Okay.
most likely, or the 2 and 3 if Georgia loses to Alabama in the SEC championship. What's going to be interesting is like Ohio State and Michigan.
Right.
What are they going to do? One, what are they going to do with Michigan if they're going to do anything with Michigan with all the sign stealing scandal and stuff going on over there? Two, who wins that game and how much like emphasis does the CFP committee put on a 1 and 3 team going up against each other? If it's a close game, I could see Michigan. If Michigan ends up losing, I could see Michigan staying in the 4. Or is the CFP going to be like, nah, they're cheating, we'll just bump them out and then let Alabama go into that 4 spot? So to
Yeah.
me, if Texas wins out and wins a Big 12, Alabama wins out and wins the SEC, I still think you have to put Texas in front of Alabama just because Texas beat them,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
that's the only reason.
right.
And so
My
it's
only
gonna be
assumption is that
interesting.
Texas doesn't win out. I assume Texas loses again somewhere, whether it be in the Big 12 championship or
I mean,
before.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
and that could happen. So
Which
I
right
think
now would be
Alabama.
OSU,
Oh, go ahead.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be. I'm pretty sure it would be OSU. But yeah, I don't think they necessarily control their own destiny, but they definitely have to win out in order to have a chance. It kind of, since there's 5 9-0 teams,
Mhm.
which it's not really that uncommon, I guess, in college football for there to be 5 undefeated teams this late in the year.
Hey, there's 6. Can't forget about James Madison.
Okay, they're not even in the top 25.
Yeah, but they won a
But they do
bowl.
keep
They
winning.
won a
They do
bowl
keep.
game.
I did watch their game this weekend, and they were fun to watch. I'm not gonna lie.
They're pissed that they're not going to get a bowl game. They really want a bowl game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't think they necessarily control their own destiny just because Texas already beat them in the beginning of the year. If Texas wins out, then it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, assuming let's just place some hypotheticals. Texas wins out, Washington wins out, Florida State wins out.
Then you have Ohio State and Michigan,
Yeah, I mean,
and so that's 4 spots, and then Alabama's number 5.
yeah, that's gonna be
In my
rough.
opinion, just because I don't think you can put Alabama over Texas, just because Texas already beat them, even
No,
if they
that's
beat
fair.
Georgia.
If they have the same record when it's all said
Wait,
and
did you
done-
say? Did you say Washington and Oregon went out? Because that can't happen. Cause
No, I said Washington
Well,
and Florida State.
Okay.
Texas, Washington, Florida State. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see because I mean, like you said, we got 5 9-0 teams right now. Only 4 teams can make the CFP this year until next year, and then next year they would all make it. But for now, we're still with that 4 teams. So it's gonna be crazy to see what happens down the stretch. Bama could easily jump up. Texas could easily jump up. Oregon, if they beat Washington, could jump up. So especially if Florida State loses or that Michigan Ohio State game is really lopsided. So it's gonna be crazy to see what happens down the stretch, and kind of talking about that a little bit. OU essentially knocking themselves out of the any contention they had. They won the Red River rivalry game this year, beating Texas, but when it comes to Bedlam, they take the L. Oh wait, no, they lost to KU, didn't they? They beat Texas. No,
They
yeah,
lost.
they beat Texas.
They lost to both. Oh, they beat Texas. Yeah, they won.
They beat Texas, lost to
Yeah.
Kansas, lost to.
Yeah, they beat Texas. So yeah, I mean OU looking like they might have a chance to save their season. Well, then they lost to KU, so that kind of ruined it. But then the OSU Cowboys, take their lunch money, win the last ever Bedlam game in history. So they're officially the kings of Bedlam. I don't want to hear anything from OU fans about that. I'm not an OSU fan. I just love to see OU fans whine. But yeah, what were your thoughts, Aaron, about OSU taking down OU in the last ever Bedlam game?
I would just like to say that game was everything everybody loves about college football. 2 schools that hate each other, 2 fan bases that hate each other, exciting back and forth game the entire time. It's just what everybody loves about college football.
Yeah.
It was a great game.
It's a damn shame we'll never see it again, probably.
I don't know about never.
For the foreseeable future. But
Considering OSU was the petty team and wouldn't put OU back on the schedule, and then they proceeded to win that game, they're never going to play it again.
yeah,
They're never playing it again.
No, it's
OSU's
like
going
when KU and MU, like after they wouldn't put us on the schedule in football, so we're never gonna play them again in football because of that.
But now they're good, so they might.
Yeah, but no, we're gonna be
Yeah,
petty.
we'll
we're
play
gonna
them
be
in
petty
basketball,
back.
but they won't play us in football.
Yeah, we'll play them in basketball.
We'll get
but
our
they
ass
won't play
kicked in basketball.
Yeah. And we take our licks. We lost by 20 last year. Let's have our shot, damn it. It's not fair. Yeah, no, I see it going a similar route as that, where we're probably not going to see that matchup anytime soon, at least. Damn shame. It's a damn shame what's happening in college football with all these rivalries being essentially dissolved. It's really sad. It's really sad to see what's happening over the last decade or so. But yeah, what are your thoughts, Siege? I mean, you've lived in Oklahoma for a while now. You know a lot of OU friends. You have a lot of OU fans. You have a lot of friends who are OSU fans. What was kind of the feeling around here whenever OSU pulled out the victory for the first time in a while? Might I add? It's been a while since they beat OU.
Yeah, it's been a really long time. But like, it was weird because I was with OU fans
Yeah.
when I was watching the game, but all my OSU fan friends were in Stillwater partying
Right.
after the game, hanging out with Alan, or what is his name? Alan Bowman or Alex Bowman?
I think
Alan?
I think
I
Alan.
think it's Alan.
I think it's Alan.
Yeah, they were hanging out with Alan Bowman after the game, just getting into bars for free and passing lines of hundreds of people with everybody chanting his name. So that was pretty cool for them. But dude, I don't know. It's weird because I also don't agree with you that OSU holds the title over OU because they were like 20 and 94 against them. So
Hey, they won the last one. That's what
it's not
matters.
even a rivalry.
They won the
It's
last
just-
one. That's all that matters.
I mean, I don't disagree necessarily, but I don't know. It was I side more towards OSU myself just because it's a more fun place to go and watch a game.
Yeah.
Like as a TCU
I've
fan,
heard that.
I would much rather go to Stillwater and
I've
watch a
heard that.
game than go to Norman.
Yeah, I've been to.
But oh, go
been,
ahead.
I've been to Norman twice for Bedlam, and I mean those games were cool, but like I mean, this whatever felt a little hoity-toity for me. I feel like Stillwater would be like, you know, where you go to get fucked up, basically. You're gonna have a good time.
You did that in Norman.
I did. I did that. I think you were there. You were both there. Yeah, we were there. We were all there.
Yeah, we were all there. We had to run away from the concourse because
It wasn't so much the booze; it was more so the taste. That taste of Coors Light hit my tongue, and I was like, "Oh, you know, shit tastes like piss water, man. I can't drink that shit."
I will say I've worn my OU polo for the past 2 weeks. And they've lost both games, so I'm gonna
keep wearing that shit. Yeah, keep wearing that.
it.
Well, that takes
I think
us to
OU fans will fit right into the SEC.
Oh, for
100%.
sure. Yeah.
Just
for
that
sure.
cult style fan base.
Yeah. So will Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're both perfect for the SEC as far as fan bases go. And honestly, as far as offense or as far as play styles go now, because SEC's all offense these days. There's not a whole lot of defense going on anymore. So you got good defenses, but you're still going to drop 50 on them somehow. I don't understand. It's weird. College football's weird. But takes us to the other game that you almost called, Aaron. You called the OSU-OU upset last week. You almost had the K-State over Texas game right.
They should have won. I'm saying it. They should have won.
Yeah. So what happened exactly? Because I wasn't able to watch the ending of that Texas. I turned it off because it looks like Texas was going to run away with it.
Yeah, Texas dominated for 3 quarters. It was a wild game.
Yeah.
And then the fourth quarter rolls around. K-State decides to make a game of it. They fight back to tie the game up. And then they go for 2 and fail the conversion. And I don't know why, because if they kick the extra point, they go up 28-27. They have the lead. And then they missed like a chip shot field goal to tie the game at 30 with like just under 2 minutes left. And then they go for it on 4th and goal in overtime and don't get it after they force Texas to kick a field goal. So they could have tied it again. It's just a wild game, and honestly, they should have won it. They had no business being in it.
Right.
With how well Texas played for the first 3 quarters, but they should have won it in the end.
Yeah, I was on my way home from Tulsa from Joe's wedding, because I think it was the same time as the Mizzou game, right? Pretty much, or like right before it or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was watching the Mizzou game on the drive home, and I like just checked in to see because I remember you had K-State winning earlier in the week, and I checked in. I'm like, oh, Texas is up like 17 or something at that point. I'm like, I'm not even gonna bother keeping up with it. And all of a sudden, I checked like last night or something. I'm like, K-State lost in overtime by 3, and I was like, what the fuck happened? So, yeah, Siege, what are your thoughts on Texas barely outlasting K-State? I mean, they have them as the second-ranked team in the nation, but you know they've got some close wins against some inferior opponents.
Yeah, and I mean you have to just find a way to win those games. You know, if you're gonna continue to just win these close games, like K-State's not a slouch. I mean, they were 6-2 going into the game, and like they're not a slouch of an opponent.
No,
I mean, you guys played them really close. You had to walk them off on a field goal too.
Yeah, the longest field goal in SEC history, by the way.
No, I don't know how he made that, but I
61
still
yards.
don't know how he made that.
61 yards.
But I mean, that's just what good teams do. They find a way to win the dirty games,
Yeah.
and I mean, like you said, Texas, like Aaron said, Texas went up and played really well the first 3 quarters, and then they started letting the game slip a little bit in the fourth, but they found a way to win. I mean, yeah, it could have been because K-State had terrible coaching decisions, but Texas found a way to win the game, and that's what you have to do. That's what TCU did last year. They found a way to win those just nail biter games against teams that had no business really. Well, not necessarily.
Not
TCU
no
was a little
business, but
overrated.
definitely inferior. Yeah.
They just knew how to win games
Yeah.
last year. TCU just knew how to win games. They knew what their strengths were, and so that's kind of what I'm seeing with this Texas team is they know how to win the close games, except for OU. But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was a weird
um,
game. That was a gross, ugly, weird game.
yeah, but I mean, they're finding a way to win games, and so if you're finding a way to win games late in the year, they're gonna have. Hopefully, they're gonna have success. Like I don't know. Hopefully, they have success because they're like my last hope for a Big 12 team.
Yeah, I had my doubts after the Houston game. You could argue they should have lost that one. Um, but I mean, like you said, I mean you're not wrong. K State's a really good team this year. They're tough. They're no slouch by any means. And I think Texas' schedule the rest of the way outside the Big 12 championship is it's not too bad. TCU, Iowa State, Texas Tech, those are all games they should win. They should go into the SEC or the Big 12 championship with one loss, facing what's probably going to be an OSU, maybe KU team. Kansas is a sneaky one. They could sneak in there if they really feel like it. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what goes on in the Big 12. But I mean, yeah, you kind of said it. They're your last hope as far as any CFP appearances for the Big 12 is concerned this year. If they lose any more games, it's basically over for that conference. So
Yeah. I
um,
will say,
go ahead.
watch the Texas and TCU game this week just because TCU seems to be the Texas Killers every year.
Yeah,
I don't know why. Even if they have a terrible team, they seem to be the Texas Killers. So just watch that.
keep
Love
that
to hear
in
that.
mind. Yeah, I would love to see that. Love to see Texas go down. Anything to get an SEC team into the CFP, you know what I mean? Go Bama. Roll Tide. But speaking of the SEC, going back to the SEC, we got the Ole Miss Rebels outlasting Texas A&M in what ended up being a way closer game than it probably should have been. Ole Miss keeping those SEC. I mean, they're probably not going to make it because Georgia would have to lose, but they're going to make a good bowl game, assuming they keep doing what they're doing so far. So, Aaron, what have you seen from the Rebels this year that have kind of turned your head? Missouri, obviously, and Tennessee being ranked below them. We didn't get. I don't think we get an opportunity to play them this year, did we? No.
Ole Miss?
Yeah.
No.
So, but yeah, I mean, they've been impressive. Second best team out in the East this year behind Bama. Or are they in the West? They're in the East, right?
Didn't we go over this?
I don't know. Ole Miss?
They're in the West.
Ole Miss is in the West? Okay,
Yeah.
so they're the second best team out there, out in the West right now. Then, thanks to Missouri losing to Georgia. How did we not play them this? Oh, we're in the East.
We're in the
I'm
East. We went
so
over this last
God.
week.
It's so stupid. I hate that we're not in the West. That makes no sense. All right, but yeah, what are your thoughts on Ole Miss? I guess I don't know where I was going with this.
Ole Miss is covered in, I would say, yellow flags and not red flags. They're covered in yellow flags for me because they've just been in too many close games for my taste. They really only controlled 2 games, Vanderbilt and Mercer. 2 games they should have obviously controlled, but then, A&M's just kind of like an average team. Auburn's just kind of like a below average team. Arkansas they played close, who's kind of a bad team this year. So they've got all these close games that don't signal that they're like an elite team, but they've found a way to win, kind of like a Texas has. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're winning those close games, like you said. That Auburn team, not the greatest. That shouldn't have been that close. That Arkansas team, not very good. Shouldn't have been that close. Uh, but they won a dogfight against LSU, too, who's really solid. Um, and then Tulane's good. They beat them pretty handily. So, um,
Don't forget about Mercer.
that game was a lot closer than what the score indicates. It was pretty much tied going into like midway through the fourth quarter, and then Tulane had a couple turnovers late. That game.
okay. Yeah. So yeah, I mean they know how to win the close games, kind of like you said. It'll be interesting to see what they can do against Georgia this week. It'd be crazy if they can beat Georgia. Then maybe Missouri's like, hey, what's going on? You know, we need Georgia to lose another game because we don't have the tiebreaker. But oh wait, we need them to lose two because we lost 2 games. Never mind, we have no hope. But it'll be interesting to see what happens this week with them. Siege, do you have any thoughts on Ole Miss this year? I know SEC may not be your strong suit per se, but
I mean, kind of the same thing. They're winning close games. Obviously, like whenever they played Alabama, it wasn't. I mean, 2 touchdowns, but I mean, they have a good quarterback. They have like the deepest quarterback room in the country, I feel like. I forget who all they have, but I remember OSU's quarterback transferred there, and I was like, why is he transferring there? Because Jackson Dart's there.
yeah,
Like, it didn't make any sense to me. Like, all of the quarterbacks went there for no reason. And so, um, I think that, like I said, same thing with Texas. They know how to win dirty games, the close games. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think they're gonna really have a chance against Georgia, but it might be a better game than people expect just because they play people close, no matter who it really is,
yeah,
except for Mercer.
yeah, except for Mercer. But I mean, yeah, I'd love to see a dogfight. Funny because the dogs, Bulldogs. I'd love to see a dogfight between Georgia and Ole Miss. It'd be really fun to see. Honestly, it would look kind of good if they get just absolutely mollywopped by Georgia because then Mizzou looks really good. Looks good for us. Then we'd have the same amount of losses, assuming Missouri wins. So I think we'd probably end up jumping. Do you think there's a possibility that we jump Ole Miss if they get like absolutely destroyed by Georgia this week? Yeah.
Maybe that's a tough call. I could see it purely because maybe we have some more ranked wins than they do, but that would really be the only reason I would think.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Talking about Missouri and their loss to Georgia, it was respectful. I'm proud of the way the team played for the most part. They played really well. Unfortunately, you have to play perfect to beat that Georgia team over there, but we looked good for the most part. Couple bad mistakes by Brady Cook and untimely opportunities. But for the most part, we really held our own, I feel like, only losing by 9. And I think we were tied at halftime, if I remember right. Yeah, we were. We were tied at halftime. Couldn't hold them in the third quarter. That's kind of what hurt us. We let them score 14, but we only scored 3. I think that was probably the quarter we had a turnover, if I remember right. But all in all, a really respectful showing for Mizzou. Proud of the way the boys played. What are your thoughts, Aaron? Do you think this is something that we can use to motivate us going forward?
I think it's definitely a positive step forward. I mean, we've been bad for a while now.
Yeah.
And this is a step in the right direction playing a team like Georgia like this. I think last year, I don't necessarily want to say it was a fluke, but it really was like an oddity at how well we played Georgia this year. Kind of a little bit of a different story. We knew we could play them this well. Our O-line struggled with their D-line shift. They kept shifting and drawing us into false starts, which is kind of frustrating.
Right.
And then I think Brady Cook struggles when it comes to the big
Pressure.
moments. I think he doesn't necessarily make the best decisions. I think it
Yeah.
kind of gets, the pressure kind of gets
The
to him.
bright lights. Yeah.
But
No, I would agree.
assuming he comes back next year, hopefully it's something he can from and improve on in the offseason.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it definitely seemed like the bright lights got to Brady Cook a little bit. He tried to do a little too much. Saw a lot of people saying that he tried to win the game by himself there. But at the same time, it doesn't help that when your number one receiver and Luther Burden goes out halfway through the game. Yeah, he came back, but he was never the same after that. You could tell he was favoring that leg the rest of the way through. So all things considered, I still feel really good. Schrader played amazing. It sucks we're not going to have him next year. It sucks we didn't recruit him earlier because he went to Truman State for 4 years, and then we finally decided, hey, he's worth a spot on the Missouri Tigers. So the kid's just absolutely ridiculous. 22 carries, 112 yards, 1 touchdown. Theo Weiss, the transfer from Oklahoma, 5 receptions for 90 yards. It was a really good showing for the most part. Just one too many, maybe two too many mistakes by Brady Cook. Had those 2 picks, of course. But Siege, were you able to catch this game at all? And if so, what were your thoughts?
I did watch the game. I was at Texas Live on Saturday for a bachelor party, so we got to watch basically all the football games that were
Mm-hmm.
on. I did get to watch it. I was really enjoying the way that Mizzou was playing the first half of football.
Yeah.
Um, Second half, obviously, Georgia came out and scored 2 touchdowns in the third quarter, I
Yeah.
think.
Yep.
And I mean that was the difference in the game.
No, it
That's
was.
the difference in the game right there. Um, and I would agree with Aaron. I think uh, what's your quarterback's name? Cook.
Cook, yeah, Brady Cook.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Cook. I think I like him. I think he tries to force a little bit too much. And you saw him throw 2 picks. I think I think he might try to force just a little bit too much and not just play like a check down or something like that whenever he has the option to. But then again, like it kind of only happens in the bigger games. But I like the way that Mizzou's playing. I've been kind of surprised. Like last year, we saw a little glimpse of into the future for this year, and I mean they started playing decent last year, and now they're a formidable team in the SEC, I think. So I'm excited for what they're doing over there, and I mean 7-2 in the FCC is pretty good. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's been a. I've had to think big picture since that loss because it was rough. I had a lot of. I mean, I knew. Obviously, I knew that there was a really, really good chance we were going to lose. More likely than not, we were going to lose. But I had a lot of confidence going into that game, so just to see us lose by 9 is pretty nice. But I'm now starting to look big picture, look towards the future. I think this could be a huge season as far as like building that Missouri program up going forward is concerned. Aaron, what are your thoughts?
I think it's definitely a good thing. I hope. I mean, we've got some good recruits coming in, and um, I hope that Drinkwitz keeps recruiting the way that he has been. He's
Yeah,
brought in some really quality guys, and he's got some things to work on the maybe actual on field game time decision making parts of the game. But as far as bringing in guys, I'm really happy with who he's brought in.
yeah. I mean, Drinkwitz, he's getting the Missouri guys. That's the big thing that's been going on since he took over. He's really,
Lost a big St. Louis receiver to Texas though.
yeah, yeah. I remember hearing about that
That was
recently,
annoying.
like 2 weeks ago or whenever it was. But outside of him, Drinkwitz has done really well at getting those high star Missouri recruits as he should. That's what's always frustrated me throughout the years as a Missouri fan is we let all of this talent in Missouri just walk because we're so focused on the Texas guys and the California guys or whatever it may be. Yeah, those guys are better than the Missouri guys, but we're not getting them. Bama's getting them. LSU's getting them. Clemson's getting them. Those are the schools that are getting those really really big name guys out of Texas and California. We need to focus on the guys around our area, the guys that actually would want to come here if we offered them off the jump. So it's been really encouraging to see what Drinkwitz has done as far as the recruiting goes. His coaching, a little to be desired from time to time. Would love to see him maybe have a little better time clock management, a little better at keeping the guys from, causing penalties. I think we're the most penalized team in the SEC this year. That's been a big issue with us. Take away those penalties against Georgia, I think it's even closer. We maybe even come out with the W. Of course, the whistle wasn't really going our way from time to time because it is Georgia. But beside the point, Drinkwitz needs to improve a little as coaching, as a recruiter. I think he's doing a great job. I think this is a really good sign for the Tigers moving forward. I think this is going to end up being a season that we can build on, and hopefully build ourselves back up as a solid program. But looking forward to this next week's slate of games in the college football realm.
Real quick, Burke. Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
What happened to Aaron?
I have no idea. He's been, yeah.
Okay, so that wasn't just me. Like it was like
It's been you've been kind of having shaky connection for the last 15
This is what
minutes.
you've been doing. Ready?
Yeah, I saw it. Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, the robot thing. Yeah, Burke sounded really robot, and so I was trying to
You sound great
figure out what was
now.
going on.
Yeah, you sound
You
good.
sound
I don't know
great,
what
but your
happened.
camera
Yeah, your
is.
camera's fucked up. Ever since you did the whole palm thing, it's been fucked. Try turning it off, baby. I don't know.
No, I think it's
I-
fine for me.
I would suggest turning it off for a second. Oh! Hey! It was bad. It was really bad.
Okay.
It almost looked like one of those, like, how the TV cuts to those
Like-
colorful lines.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of
Yeah,
looked
that's
like
what
that.
it looked like.
Yeah, kind of looked like that.
My connection went to shit there for a minute.
It was weird, but hey, you're back. Good to see you. Nice to have you. Now we can
Of course,
really.
we're talking about Mizzou.
Yeah, I know. I think we got the audio. The audio wasn't bad when you were talking about Mizzou. The video was
Okay.
atrocious. The video was awful.
Okay.
But audio, I think was okay for the most part. But
Sorry, I wanted to get that fixed before we kept going.
yeah, no, I'm glad you said something because I was gonna wait until we cut between college and NFL.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm glad we got that handled now.
I want to at least get the CFP stuff in.
Yeah. Oh yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that before we look ahead towards this next slate of games. We can look at the CFP rankings. Just came out earlier tonight as we were getting ready to go live. Well, not live, but record. So yeah, big story. Top 8 teams stay the exact same. No movement even throughout those 8. Ole Miss moves up to 9. Penn State to 10. Louisville to 11. Oregon State to 12. Tennessee to 13, Missouri to 14, and OSU to 15, with Kansas and OU just outside the top 15. But what are your biggest surprises, Siege, about the CFP rankings that just came out today?
Arizona cracking the top 25, to be honest. That is the biggest surprise to me. They haven't been good at football in a long time. And so that's exciting to see as a new Big 12 new Big 12 team coming in.
I forgot they're coming in next year. Yeah.
That's exciting to see for us. But yeah, that's honestly the biggest surprise to me is Arizona cracking that top 25 mark for the first time in a long time. I really actually really like this list. I don't see anything that I would necessarily change. Besides maybe, I don't know. The Missouri thing's going to work itself out. They still have to play Tennessee.
Yeah.
They play Tennessee 2 weeks from now?
No, this weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So
we'll
that'll
find
be
out. We'll
interesting.
find out which team should have been ranked higher after this week.
Yeah. Alabama can't really move ahead of Texas. Oregon lost to Washington in a thriller, so I'm cool. I'm cool with this list. I actually really like this list. Nothing that I would change, to be honest.
Yeah, you mentioned one thing that I think me and Aaron both kind of have in common, and I've said it earlier. It could easily be our SEC bias, in my opinion. Aaron refuses to admit it because it just means more. But
Just means more.
I I think me and Aaron both kind of feel like Bama kind of should have jumped Texas, but
Why? How?
I just think they've been outside of the game where they played each other. Obviously,
Okay, so they can't jump them. They
Aaron,
can't jump
can you help
Texas
me out a little bit here?
until Texas loses again.
Throw me a lifeline or something.
I personally would put Alabama ahead of Texas because I think they're a better team. I can see why they have Texas ranked ahead because of the
Right.
head-to-head matchup.
Right.
But at this point in the season, I think Alabama's a better team.
But they weren't when
Basically.
they played each other.
That was like week
Exactly.
4.
At the beginning of the season.
Oh,
Or week
Texas
2 or
is a
whatever
better
it was.
team.
That was before Texas lost to OU in that ugly ass game that I.
It'll be a whole nother story when Ewers comes back. We'll have to see how they look. I mean,
Yeah.
they did have a couple like a shaky game here and there when he was still healthy, but they still looked really good. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to see what they look like when he comes back.
Yeah, like I said, it could easily be our SEC bias. Outside of that, I do agree that I think the list is pretty solid. Even Missouri falling down to 14 and Tennessee jumping them, I'm not super upset about because, like you said, it's going to kind of work itself out this weekend. We're going to see which team should have been ranked higher, and I think us at this point in the season, I think us and Tennessee are about neck and neck. But we beat them last year when we were dog shit. So
We did not beat them last year.
did we not? I thought we did.
Oh, I'm pretty sure we got routed by them.
Was it 2 years ago when we beat them?
I think so.
That's when you were terrible. Last year, y'all had glimpses of being pretty good.
Oh, we did. Yeah, we got destroyed by. It was 2021 when we beat them. No, 2020. 2020? No, what the fuck did we? I swear we beat them recently. Am I thinking of basketball?
Listen, as we get older,
We
time
did beat them in
changes.
basketball last year.
That must be what I'm thinking. I must be thinking of basketball last year because we haven't beat them in football since 2018. So,
Yeah.
dang. I can't put my foot in my mouth. But we didn't beat them last year when we were dog shit, but we're not dog shit anymore, so I think we'll beat them this year. Hopefully. I don't know. We'll talk about it. As we look ahead towards this week's slate of games in the college football realm, hang on if I can ever get to it. All right. We've got couple of big ones. Oh, Penn State versus Michigan this year. This week. That could be a big game deciding the fate of Michigan and the Wolverines over there under Coach Harbaugh. Aaron, Penn State, Michigan, 10 versus 3. What are your thoughts?
I think a lot of it depends on whether Penn State's smart enough to change their signs. If they are, then I think this could be a competitive game, and if not, Michigan's gonna.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. If Michigan knows every single play that Penn State's about to run, I'm sure they'll win. But in all honesty, do you think this could be maybe Michigan's first loss of the year?
I really don't see it. I
You
don't.
know?
No, I think Michigan's, despite all the allegations and everything, I think they're still a really good football team.
Yeah.
And I think they just. I could see it being a good game, not necessarily like a close game. I
Sure.
could see Penn State having some fight in it, but I think Michigan takes it fairly easily in the end.
Siege, what are your thoughts?
I like Michigan. I think
Yeah.
they're a really good team. We're real quick on the whole cheating allegations thing, though. It's kind of funny. There's a report that came out that like Ohio State and two other
Rutgers
Big
and
Ten.
Penn State, I think, were the other two teams. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
They called TCU.
we're sharing Michigan signs or something like that.
No, they called TCU and were like, "Hey, by the way, they know all of your signs." And so TCU had a dummy guy giving dummy signs of the
Oh,
wrong
that's
plays
funny.
the whole
That's even
game.
funny. I didn't hear
Mhm.
that one. I heard
Yeah.
that.
They were all trying to steal Michigan's signs together.
Oh, it was Purdue, Ohio State, and Rutgers shared Michigan signals. They have documents that supposedly support that allegation. So we'll
mean,
see.
It's a cheat or get cheated on league.
No, absolutely.
Every sport is.
If you think other teams aren't doing similar stuff than what Michigan got caught for doing, then you're insane. You're stupid.
Yeah.
You're just downright stupid. Any sort of advantage you can get, that's what these teams are going to do. So, but yeah,
So
Michigan.
we can all
probably-
agree sneaking a guy onto the sideline.
That's a little weird.
that was
It's a bit
shady.
crazy.
Okay, I heard about
That's a bit
what
crazy.
exactly happened this past weekend during the wedding, and I thought that was okay. I was like, okay, if that's what they did, that's a little excessive. Like he dressed up as a Central Michigan coach or something.
In Central Michigan, people are like, we don't know.
We have no idea who that man is. Like I don't know how he got here. Oh, that was. When I found that out, I'm like, okay, yeah, they should probably get some sort of punishment for that. That's a little absurd. But yeah, I think Michigan rolls. I think Michigan wins this. Maybe not rolls, but they win this week. Which maybe, I mean, I'm looking at this through Missouri tinted glasses. Maybe helps Missouri out because maybe they jump Penn State if they lose this week to number 3 Michigan. But another big game, obviously that Missouri Tennessee game, taking place 2:30 this Saturday. Missouri has apparently never beaten Tennessee in football since 2018, according to my most recent research. So it's gonna be tough, but I think Missouri should at least stand a chance this year. I would like to think they come out on top. Aaron, what are your thoughts?
This is one of those games where we're fairly even
It
As
feels like
far-
we're playing ourselves.
talent-wise go.
Yeah.
This feels like a game Mizzou should win to me.
I'm sure they feel the
But
same way.
it definitely being a close game.
Yeah. I'm sure Tennessee feels the same way. I'm sure Tennessee also thinks they should win this game. It could really go either way. I'm scared. Siege, can you give me some confidence?
I think your confidence lies in that game not being played at Tennessee.
Yeah.
I think that game being played at home for Mizzou makes the difference on them winning the game, just because they don't have to play in that environment in Tennessee
Right.
with Cook playing the way that he does. I think he would make more mistakes playing there than he would at home. So I think
I agree.
that is where your hope lies, is it that game being in Mizzou. So I think Missouri wins this game. I do.
That makes sense. I mean, yeah, it's called home field advantage for a reason. It's more prominent in probably college football than any other sport, from what it seems. Have you heard anything about Luther Burden? Is he going to be 100% this weekend, Aaron?
I haven't heard anything, but since he played, I would imagine that he'd be fine to play.
What was it? It was an ankle, right?
Yeah, he tweaked his ankle on a
Yeah,
catch attempt.
in the end zone. Yeah, so hopefully Luther Burden's 100%. If he's 100%, I feel really good about Missouri's chances. He's kind of the heart and soul of that passing offense. Theo Weiss is really good, don't get me wrong. But without Luther Burden, Theo Weiss is probably going to get doubled. And that's going to be not so good. Even though we got Cody Schrader, I think Cody's his first name, right? Yeah. Even though we got Cody Schrader in the backfield, he's a dog. He'll get you 100 yards and a touchdown just about every freaking game. But at the end of the day, you need a passing attack, especially against a really solid Tennessee Volunteers team. So, be interesting to see what happens.
Bert, Cody Schrader reminds me a lot of somebody we went to high school with.
Max
He's got
Mickey?
no. One of our friends. He's got stiff hips. He's
Stiff hips.
not the
Oh,
most.
Cole Chisler.
Yo, he's not the most elusive guy.
All you had to
Don't
say
want
was
these
stiff hips.
contacts.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, that dude cannot. He's not the most flexible man in the world, but he is a strong ass motherfucker.
Mhm.
And yeah, I kind of see what you're saying now, because Cody Schrader's same way. He's not the most flexible, he's not the fastest, but he's gonna break some tackles. That dude's gonna run through some arm tackles, which is encouraging to see because we haven't seen that in quite some time. But yeah, I guess moving on to, is there any other big high stakes? Oh, Ole Miss, Georgia. That's another.
Yeah, we kind of already hit on that one though.
Yeah.
Well, one other game I kind of wanted to talk about and get y'all's opinion on. Utah without Cam Rising, obviously at quarterback against Washington.
Ooh,
I think
that was a good game.
Utah might have the best defense that Washington has seen so far this year. So I kind of wanted
Even
to get
outside of
y'all's
Oregon?
thoughts. Yes, I think Utah's defense is better than Oregon's. I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on how you think Washington is going to fare against a pretty strong Utah defense.
I would say that Utah would obviously have a much better chance of winning at home,
Yeah.
but I definitely could see this being a good game and them giving Washington a test. I still think Washington wins, but I did have that one marked down too. That should be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, I mean, Washington's won a couple close games recently. The 10-point win. Excuse me. The 10-point win over USC this past weekend. Before that, they had a 9-point win over Stanford, and then that Arizona State game looks ugly from what I can tell. 15-7. Didn't score a lot, but that defense was really solid. Oregon 36-33. I mean, I'm just box score watching at this point, but they've played a lot of close games. I expect another one here against Utah. Utah obviously gave USC all they could handle, beat them. That's really the only game I've seen from them this year, but they looked really good. I think Washington ultimately comes out on top, but I think Utah gives them a good run for their money. I think they probably lose by like a touchdown, maybe two.
The reason I say I think this game is going to be really good is because Utah has only given up more than 14 points to only USC.
Right.
And they scored, and USC scored 32 on them, and USC has a really, really strong offense. So I'm thinking that Utah actually has a chance to win this game. Hopefully Michael Penix Jr. goes off because I like watching Washington play, and I like watching him play also. So like he's an exciting player to watch. So hopefully he goes off, but I think this game is going to be closer than people are expecting.
No, I agree, and I mean Washington does they could get caught looking ahead towards that Oregon State matchup, and that could catch them off guard this week against Utah. So it'll be interesting to see for sure. Obviously, if they lose to Utah, that changes the whole landscape of the Pac-12. You got Oregon jumping them in the rankings, assuming they win. You got Utah, I think, being even with them as far as losses go. As Utah, Utah's lost two. Never mind.
Yeah, they lost to Oregon State and Oregon.
Yeah, well then, is Oregon State, they only have one loss, or they have two as well?
Two.
So I guess it doesn't really change too much as far as Pac-12 championship goes. But then they have to beat OSU to make it, essentially. So, yeah, I think this is a huge game for both teams. Utah trying to keep any hopes they have alive of making the Pac-12 championship with a win here. And then Washington, if they lose, they could easily miss it. So, but I think I have Washington coming out on top with that big Phoenix energy they have up in the Northwest. But other than that, is there any other games that I'm missing? I mean, we talked about, kind of like you said, we talked about Ole Miss and Georgia already a little bit, so I don't really think we need to go back over that.
I think USC Oregon could be a good game.
Yeah,
which one?
I was going to say
USC Oregon.
and
Yeah,
Oregon.
yeah. I was only looking at ranked.
test for Oregon just to see how they
Right.
kind of stack up, because obviously USC and Washington just played, so it'll be interesting to see how they. It's kind
Yeah,
of
I
like a
mean,
direct comparison at this point.
right. You assume USC could easily put up 30, 40 points even against that Oregon team. Oregon defense has been good, but that USC offense has been really, really solid. It's that defense that's lost some games, kind of as we've hinted at this week. But that offense hasn't scored less than 30 outside of that Notre Dame loss, which was really, really ugly on Caleb Williams' part. Worst game he's probably played in college. So outside of that, that offense is legit. The defense just can't keep anybody from scoring. So I think at the end of the day, Oregon probably comes out on top, probably scoring like 50 something points, maybe high 40s, and then USC scoring like maybe high 30s, something like that. But yeah, I see it being a shootout, but I think Oregon should come out on top.
Yeah, who's staying up till 9:30 p.m. with me for the game to start?
To watch a game that means, I mean, it
Not
means
much.
something if Oregon
Unless
if
USC
Oregon
wins.
loses. Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't really mean anything unless Oregon loses. So I probably won't be watching. I might have it. I'll be up. Don't be wrong. I'll be up. I just might not put it on. But
Why would you not have it on if you're up?
I got other stuff going on.
No, you don't.
I live in a I don't know, man. I just might not. But unless y'all have anything else to add, I think that kind of does it for this episode of Swivel Chair Sports, the college football episode for this week. Yeah. Y'all have anything else?
Nope.
No? All right.
I think I'm good.
Well, in that case, I've been your host, Zach Circleberg Burkle, here with Swivel Chair Sports, the most unprofessional sports podcast in the world. Here's our coach today, Aaron and Siege. Go ahead and say bye, guys.
Later.
All right. Deuces.